What's up? Welcome to another edition of Plants for People too. We're out in the woods, just walking in a particular direction. I'm going to check out this little wetland that has no iNaturalist observations for it. So it'll be interesting to see what's actually there. It's off of a place called Ellis Brook. And so I'm bushwhacking through the woods right now, just following old service roads, forest service roads. They're not very clear, they're pretty faint. But no particular plants in mind today. We're just gonna go for a walk and see what we find. So I'll check back in when we find something interesting. We definitely found something interesting. This is a Platanthera species, so it's an orchid. It looks like it started to put up a flower and it got nipped off. Now, so it's either macrophylla or orbiculata. I think you can tell based on leaf width maybe, but you know, everything's much easier to prove in person with a flower. But here, I'll show it to you. So massive leaves on this guy. They're both species are rare in Vermont, but here's the flower that got nipped off, which is too bad because I don't think these flower very often. Maybe it will put out another flower here, we'll see, but at least I know where this is now. But horrible. I don't know what would have done that. Maybe a deer walking through or something, not sure. But yeah, cool. Here, I'll show you a picture of what it looks like or what it could be. They're very interesting looking flowers. Found a nice little pool. Somebody at one point built a rock wall up here, and it goes right through this little like junction of all these streams. All right, so basically when I walk through the woods, I'm looking for like things I haven't seen yet or before ever. So, you know, everything that I sort of know is around here, I sort of delete. Because this is really close to my house, so I like to make like a complete inventory. But this is Viola canadensis, so I've never seen this before. This must mean this is a little bit of a richer area, so I would imagine that we're going to find other rich plants here. But white fronts on these, and then the back is tinged in purple, so you can see it there. They have leaves that show up on the stem other than just like a basal rosette of leaves. And they're kind of, you know, all spread out in here. So I found just up from where I just was, there's just like little seep coming over these rocks. And I imagine that these rocks are rich in some sort of like marble or something that we can't see that's dropping off a bunch of nutrients in here. There's blue cohosh here as well, which is another rich species plant. And then we have this weird trillium. So it's a red trillium, but it looks white. So sometimes you get a Trillium erectum that doesn't have any color, and I think they think it's a virus. Here's a normal colored one, you know, that maroon color. And this one, I've only ever seen one of these before, and it was consistently like this until one year it wasn't, and it bloomed red again. So I'm not sure. It might be a duplication of genes, but you know, we only have this and undulatum up here, which are painted, and the red trillium. So weird to see this sometimes. This is even weirder. This is like a bunch of them with that deformity just up the hill from where I just was. These are all showing up white, which is pretty weird. I'm still climbing up this little slope up to where I need to be. I found squirrel corn, so Dicentra canadensis. I've never seen that around here before, and I generally think of it as being like not very common, but it's listed as S4 in Vermont. But I mean, it still has some flowers on it, so I can ID it. It looks very similar to the other one, which I see more frequently. But look at this one. So the Dutchman's breeches, or Dicentra cucullaria, will have like yellow here on the edges. So this one is usually all white. And then the foliage looks a little different, although it's kind of hard to tell when they're just in veg. So I was happy to get flowers. But, you know, blue cohosh, there's some Actea, probably rubra, and then some like Laportia canadensis here, this Canada stinging nettle. So, you know, and then those Viola canadensis are here again too. So this area, I don't know, it's just interesting. This is like the Southern Green Mountains. We get a little bit richer soil here and the plant species kind of change. Look at this beautiful place though. Just came down this little like wet sepia area, bunch of marsh violet in here. And I'm heading to this spot. I'm gonna go around this like body of water the long way, and then at the tail end of it on the other side there's should be like an emergent marsh type thing or bog with a lot of sphagnum moss, which is really where I want to go check out. But I'm gonna skirt the edge of this thing and see how far I can get. This is us in the opening. There's some ducks over there on the water, and this cuts back that way a little bit, so I'm gonna follow the terrain this way and then get down in there. There's not a whole lot of stuff flying here. There's some like dwarf gentian, or dwarf ginseng, and some Coptis trifolia, gold thread, and those marsh violets. What do you know? A huge beaver dam right at the edge of this. So this must be the headwaters to Ellis Brook. Just looking to see, there's some kind of bird out there. Can't tell what it is from here. So I'm gonna walk down this way, but you can see how the vegetation changes. So hopefully we'll get some kind of boggy stuff, but tons of moose sign coming through here. This is like serious moose habitat. Luckily it's not very fresh, or at least it doesn't look very fresh. So we're here. Sort of I actually hit up like a culverted road, not a decent road, but a ATV road, right after I showed you a picture of that dam. And then I bushwhacked off the road down into here to see this. So this looks like a black spruce, like mountain holly swamp. So we'll see what's in here. So these are turtle heads, opposite leaves. They have this little serration on the edge. Always growing in a wet place, so that's kind of how to identify those. And they're long leaves. Like you can see one in here with pretty long leaves. These are swamp milkweed, so Symphyotrichum puniceum, blue iris. So I'm in a place where I haven't seen any invasive plants, which is pretty rare in this swampy area. Oh, look at that. That's a Sorbus americana. That's a really cool tree. They call it Rowan, R-O-W-A-N. I don't see those very often. So this is another section of the swamp. So the plant composition's kind of changed here. We have a bunch of this false hellebore, and meadow rue is starting to show up. Still got the white turtle heads, but now we also have pachyra in here. And oddly enough, there's also some like blue bead lilies, but this one too. So yeah, the other day I showed you the browsed version of this, but this one is actually in flower and has not gotten browsed. Now this is a orange or pink petaled version of the other one. So there's a variety. I've only ever seen it up here in the mountains, southern mountains of Vermont. The other one I saw the other day in Connecticut was white, so had white flowers on it. But basal rosette of leaves, always grown in a wet area. So Micranthes pennsylvanica. Now we've come out into a little bit more open of an area. There's more sedges in here, although I don't see any in flower right now. But look, it's all changed to alder. These are all alders. And there's some beaver activity back here, but not a lot. So we'll keep going. It does do what I was hoping it would do, and all the shrubs are going to be gone in a second. Check this out. I mean, there's open water out there, but it goes for a while. You know, that's down to the tip that I described before. I don't know if I'm going to make it down that far today. It's pretty far. And it's getting late. Well, let's see what we find out here. So navigating in here is pretty hard. I mean, it's not super deep. This channel is kind of deep, but everything else is, you know, I can walk on it. But takes me a long time to get anywhere substantial. I didn't really see what I was hoping for here, like, you know, a little bit drier hummocks of sphagnum moss and stuff. And there's not a ton of different species here. I don't think. There's some of the calyxes are flowering, but some of them aren't. So this might be another adventure for another time, but we'll make our way out and see what else we see. Still got like, I don't know how many miles it is back home, but it's far. What is happening to this guy? Got like mites or something crawling all over his face. This is a plant called water avens. It's in the rose family. It's got kind of a rosy color to the flower there. And it's got leaves that kind of look like this. But this is a geum, or a geum species, Rivaale, R-I-V-A-L-E, water avens. So this is kind of a cool little thing to find in the woods. It's like a memorial gravestone, but it's really specific. There's like a logging road here. I think this used to be like a, you know, a road for farmers 100-something years ago to get back and forth. But this says, this is the place where Ben J. Converse was killed by a bull returning from Wilmington Fair, September 29th, 1859. Something I can't read. Created by Mrs. Connors, S.N. Hammond of Boston. It's just like, kind of love finding stuff like that in the woods, because 1859, that was a long time ago. Somebody was killed right here, and now there's Viola canadensis growing. So thanks for joining. You know, we got to see a lot of cool plants. We got to see a rare plant in Vermont, even though it wasn't in flower, which maybe we'll see it in flower later. But then got to see a lot of really common plants that you see out in the woods right now, in flower or not, in southern Vermont. So get out there and check it out.